Okay, good evening folks. You're all very welcome to Galway Culture Night 2022, one of the many events taking place around the town. You're probably all wondering who's your one and why is she up here introducing somebody. My name's Thérèse McIntyre and I'm an oral historian and a song researcher by trade, and a historian as well. So I was quite happily roped into doing this introduction this evening a couple of hours ago. So forgive me for reading off a sheet of paper because I wouldn't normally do this. I'd have it off the cuff. I first met Marcus, I think, I can't even remember how many years ago now, but it was probably at I think it was at one of the 1916 Relatives Association meetings in Dublin. Not that I have a relation of 1916, but you can imagine being a historian, like crashing a meeting like that is really something amazing, you know, when you get to meet people who were direct lineage of the 1916 Rising and that. Marcus is an independent documentary filmmaker who since around 2015 has been capturing the personal stories of the relatives of those involved in the period of revolution 1916 to 1923. He's made numerous documentaries on Michael Collins, Patrick Pearse, James Connolly, Tom Clark and Eamon de Valera. His most recent film on Collins, The Final Hour in Baile na Bla, had its premiere at the Imperial Hotel Cork, where Collins spent his last evening alive for the 100th anniversary of his death. The Easter Rising Stories documentary series looks at history from all sides and has a strong oral history element. Ryan Tuberty has said his films are a great free educational resource for teachers and students alike. And that's one of the many brilliant things about this series, besides the oral history element, is that all of Marcus's documentaries are available online free on a YouTube channel that he runs himself. So it's really amazing that we have that kind of invaluable resource that's really freely available. If you saw the amount of material actually on the channel, you also be amazed to learn that Marcus does all of this not only independently, but he has no funding. So that's another great achievement in this day and age, to actually be able to produce such a body of work without any official funding. Marcus teaches marketing and social media at O'Fee College in Dundalk as well, and he's just informed me earlier he's now working on a series about blues musicians and that, so it's a bit of a change, but we'll be looking forward to seeing the results of those now. So the film we're going to see tonight, The Women of the 1916 Easter Rising, is being premiered here tonight as part of the Galway Culture Night 2022, before it's actually released online for general viewing. And I'd like to thank actually Portershed for allowing the use of the space. It's the first time I've been in this building and it's quite a lovely little venue that we have in the heart of Galway for something like this. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Marcus up to talk a wee bit about the film we're going to see this evening.
Thank you. Thanks very much, everybody. You're very, very welcome here. Thank you very much to Nuala Nolan for organising this, and this film probably wouldn't have even been made if it wasn't for Nuala's suggestion to do a film on the women of 1916. I have filmed a number of different women stories around, but I'd never put them all together, and it was only after the suggestion came from Nuala that I decided we'll put them all together and see what happens. And something kind of amazing I think you're going to see has happened. The women of the Irish Revolution were trailblazers, which any country around the world would be proud to have. Countess Markievicz famously said to the women of Ireland, "Dress suitably in short skirts, strong boots, leave your jewellery and gold wands in the bank and buy a revolver." The women did more than that. They fought a revolution. They travelled the country with dispatches when the 1916 Rising was initially called off, to organise and tell them it was back on again. They brought ammunition and weapons to different outposts around Dublin. They were experts at first aid and were there to help the injured and present for when some of the men were killed in action. They were present for that. Okay? They made essential food and provisions. They loaded weapons and spotted for the Irish volunteers where they'd see like people from British Crown Forces coming. They were able to spot where some of them were. Some of the women fired weapons as well and have killed during this fight. Many of the women put their lives on the line as well and fought very courageously. The women of Cumann and the Irish Citizen Army stood beside their male counterparts during the fighting. And the women embodied the 1916 proclamation. The very first sentence of the 1916 proclamation is, "Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland through us summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom." What a revolutionary document that was. So towards the end of the week, when all hope seemed lost, the women were told to leave to save themselves, and they refused. They provided moral support to the men who had fought British Crown forces tooth and nail the whole week. While the men were getting booed and jeered around the South Dublin Union by a hostile public, the women were top of their lungs singing God Save Ireland. If you've ever seen the film Bridge Over the River Kwai, you'll see when they do the whistling to show that they're not defeated. This actually happened in 1916, but with the song God Save Ireland. Not only this, but they were key to reorganising for the War of Independence. You're going to learn all about this in the documentary is 50 minutes long. It's really interesting how it came about. There's music at the start of this and music at the end of this by Evelyn Campbell. And we have a very cheeky little blues song to do with the 1916 women. And the reason that we have it is because I was making a documentary on Maudgon, and I was going, this is a brilliant story. And I really needed something cheeky and a bit fighty in terms of a song, and not like, you know, oh, we will miss you kind of a song, okay? Because that wasn't really in the spirit of what the story was about. So Evelyn Campbell came up with a song called the Fenian Women's Blues. And this song was actually performed in front of the GPO on April the 24th, while the flag was being raised in 2016, which is the exact 100th anniversary of the 1916 Rising. I've made this film for free. Anyone who's contributed to the film has done this for free, and they do it because they love history. And I think it goes with the spirit of 1916, who were volunteering their efforts for a greater cause. And I think that anybody who has contributed wants the story told warts and all, and that's what I want to do with the history, is to tell the story warts and all. I hope also that some young girls see that there were plenty of brave female Irish heroes when this gets released, who fought for the freedom of their country. This documentary is not just about women's history, it's about Irish history. Both the men and women risked everything, and against all odds to strike a blow for Irish freedom. We need to remember them, and we need to tell each generation about this fact. All right, so thank you very much, and I'll show the film.